Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome to my Pixel Quest. This one is a brand new Pixel Quest. We're doing a blind playthrough of the first game in the Ace Attorney investigation series. And I thought I'd get us started off here because I didn't know if this was, this is a totally blind playthrough. I've never played this before and I didn't know if it was going to go straight into the game or not. Like, I suspect not. I suspect we're going to go to a game select. It's okay. I suspect we're going to go to a game select sort of screen, a start screen. Yeah. Oh, so cool. So cool. Yes. Getting us started off with some nice funky music. I love it. The music in this game is obviously one of the in this series of games, in this franchise of games, in the Ace Attorney series, the music is obviously for anyone who has played this game, these games and loves them as I do, as I'm sure many of you do if you're watching this. The music is just chef's kiss, like one of the most enjoyable things about it. But there are so many things, so many enjoyable things about them. So one of the reasons why I'm doing a blind playthrough of this is because I'm already an enormous fan of the Ace Attorney series, or the Gyakuten Saiban series, and I've been playing these games for probably 20 years. It was probably about when I first started playing kind of the games through the mainline Ace Attorney series as they came out, and I just instantly became a huge fan, as so many of us, would have. So I love them. But what that means is that I have played most of the mainline Ace Attorney games, so I can't do blind playthroughs of most of those, but I have never actually tackled any of these games here, so I don't even know how they're going to work. I know so little about them, except that I know that they're a slightly different style of game, with a slightly different sort of style of gameplay, but I don't actually really know what that's going to be like. And obviously I know that we're going to have a new protagonist, and it's our beloved Miles Edgeworth, who for the most part I know as Mitsurugi because, and I asterisk, I hope nobody takes this in a pretentious way, because I know that sometimes it can seem pretentious, but I promise you, I have played a lot of these games just in the Japanese language, so I'm used to thinking of this character as Mitsurugi. I'm used to thinking of Phoenix Wright, as Naruhodo. That's fine. I'm not going to go on about it. It's just that I have spent much of my life learning and studying Japanese and living and working in Japan. And literally, not only was I a huge fan of these games and playing them because I loved them, but I also used them as Japanese language practice. So that's just by way of explanation. But I'm going to, do my best to get used to the English names, of course. So, Miles. Miles is our protagonist. All right. So I went on about, I talked about the music, and I'm going to keep going on and on about how much I love this music, but I'm sure that all of us who love these games also love these sound effects so much, right? It's like how important it is that they recognize how critical, how beloved these sound effects are, and that they maintain them in each game is so good, just so satisfying, that every time you open up one of these games, you're going to be hearing this. It makes me so happy deep inside. So I couldn't be more excited to be playing this and seeing what we've got in front of us, but also knowing that I'm going to have a great time in front of me, because I feel, even though there'll be like games here and there that I sort of prefer because of this or that reason, for the most part, I know I can trust these games. Like, I know that they have a big respect for the fan base, and this is one of the testaments to that. Like, they know we love these sounds, they keep them, they don't play around too much. They focus on the story, they focus on giving us a great character experience, giving us great puzzles to solve. So yeah, so I'm so pleased that I get to go on this journey with you, and yeah, let's get into it. I don't think I need to do anything with options. New game. Oh, cute. Oh, I didn't know I was going to be faced with this choice. Play with Play with classic pixel art, chibi character sprites. Change styles at any time from the title screen's option menu. Well, I guess if we can actually, play around with that through the game then. I mean, I'm a huge fan of pixel art. I've been around a long time. I've grown up with a lot of, classic games, and I'm a big fan of this. But somehow I sort of feel like this might be the more native experience for this game. So for the time being, I'm going to go HD. Yes, of course. Please, turnabout visitor. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm just so excited to be with these characters again. Everything old is new. Awarded. I've already won something. Hey, that's one day after my birthday. March 14, 116. I missed whether that was AM or PM, actually. To make sure the defendant is found guilty. What other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. That may be true. But why? Why go this far? Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough. But a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. Wow. Someone's already being very bad. Wow. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. Well, it's never a surprise in this game when a prosecutor goes too far to win a court case. So no big shocks there. But who are these people that we're dealing with, and why did that appear to be in Mitsurugi Miles's office? So March 14, 2 a.m. If it was, I really wish I hadn't missed whether it was AM or PM before. Well, I guess it must be AM, of course, because we're in March 14. So this is only a very short amount of time since that scene. Prosecutor's building, 12th floor hallway. Oh, so cute. It's so weird to see them in in little standalone sprite form. It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. Okay, all right. So there we go. That's the explanation. Well, that's the beginning of the explanation. So something's gone on in your office, Edgeworth. I hope Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office and keeping it clean. Has he been using your office? Maybe that's even the explanation for why people are in there. If Gumshoe, for whatever reason, has been using that office, and let's say he's been keeping, it's time for guessing, right? It's time to start figuring out what's going on. If Gumshoe has been, for whatever, using this office, maybe he's been keeping important pieces of evidence in there. God knows why, but we let that go. It doesn't make sense, but we let that go. And maybe that's the reason why some of these people have snuck into Edgeworth's office to tamper with evidence. The door is unlocked. Detective Gumshoe? What's that smell? It's very familiar. Blood? He kind of looks slightly shorter than I think he should be, but that's fine. What the? What's the meaning of this? So is this our victim? Freeze. Identify yourself. So we know, if you've played any previous games, you know that we really can't assume anything at any one given at any point. Like, this might not even be the person that we just saw in the last scene. You know, it could be somehow someone else has come in here with a gun. Or somebody else was in here the whole time. We can't make any assumptions. How lovely is it to see this room again, though? It certainly is for me. I don't know how long it's been since, you might have last played a game like this, but for me it's been a while. The last game I played was the Chronicles series, which I absolutely loved, so much more than I expected to. What an amazing series. Anyway, but what that means is that it's been quite a long time actually since I've been with these particular characters in this setting, and therefore since I've seen this office. So so nostalgic. Identify yourself. Shut up. You've got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. Oh, is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. I love the way that almost implies it's happened a lot. In this series, it could have. They left? My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrusted into a multitude of cases and some very frantic and busy days. Should that be thrust? Thrusted. March 14, 2:56 a.m., High Prosecutor's Offices, room 1202. That guy's got a lot of blood on his hand, blood on the bookshelf. Of course, we've got some very familiar kind of little tokens there in the back from other games. And, they could just be, again, in this game, you never know. You never know what you're going to get. So they could be things that are just there for us to sort of look at and, like nostalgic references, or they could very well actually be involved in this case. It's one of the things that's so exciting about these games. You really can't assume what you're going to get. Oh, I love the familiar kind of motifs in the music, but with the new little spin. Oh, so good. This, again, it's so important that they I think they never really change the character of this music. It's so iconic and lovely. Like, this still has the sound of like the very first tracks from the very first game, I've finished photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well. Please continue your investigation. Yes, sir. Dust. Hey! Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Are you okay, sir? Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran up here straight away. This is Dick Gumshoe. He is a detective with the local precinct, and the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? No, I'm perfectly fine. However... Ugh, look what they did to your office. It's totally trashed. I'll say, the culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. No one gets away with tracking mud into my office. Tracking mud. What an amateur. Or it could be on purpose, we never know. Whoa, sounds like you're getting really burned up over this whole thing. Yeah. Somebody murdered another person in his office. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it. Ho ho, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. Facts and leads. Here we go. So we're starting to learn about what the game mechanics are going to be. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that pique my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office? So we get these little... I guess these are facts? My office. Is it really coincidence that the murder took place in my office? Probably not. I get the nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind. Can I actually, while this conversation is going on, yeah, we can already start to access our kind of logbook. So evidence, profiles. This is the other thing. The other thing that they do so well in this game is just amazing characters. Characters with so much character, and it's so wonderful to see, I suppose, these steady reveals throughout the games about who all of the new characters that we're dealing with are. Okay, so we've got our beautiful prosecutor's badge. Wow, a whole new badge. Proof of my profession. However, I prefer to keep it in my pocket. Doesn't seem to be anything that we can do with it for the time being. Profiles? We can't click or anything. The victim in this case. Why was he killed in my office? Dick Gumshoe, homicide detective at the local precinct in charge of the initial investigation. Okay. 32. 32? He's so young. He's such a baby. Everyone in this game is a baby. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really. Especially because of this. The key to your office? For security reasons, this office's door has a lock built into it. What do you mean, sir? If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you. Hang on. Oh, we don't have anything yet. Okay. Logic. By finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. Cool. I like it. There's some others. I'm a really big fan of playing, I suppose detective games and mystery games, and I think, in a lot of ways, it's a natural follow-on from the games, from many of the games that I played when I was growing up on, even like, Amiga and very early computing systems like that. I was a really big fan of point-and-click games and adventure games and Sierra games and LucasArts and Lucasfilm games and all of that sort of stuff. And it feels like, it's one of the reasons why the Ace Attorney series, the Gyakuten Saiban series, pokes me in all of the right places. I think it's a natural extension of the kind of, mystery solving kind of role-playing games that I grew up with and still love. This is the end result of using logic. So how do you use it? It's a very funny question to ask if you're not in the middle of, if you're not in this context in this game. First, I recall the information we've gathered with L, and then I connect them together with X. Okay, can't do it right now. Now, to use L and recall the fact... Oh, here we go. So good. Okay. Crime scene, my office. The office key. I only have 2 things I can connect. Let's connect them. Doing things my way. Awarded. I always think it's so funny when you get achievements for doing nothing in the game. Like, literally, there's no other path I could take than to get these things. But it's cool. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks. Yeah, you would think so. Which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as mere coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? Why did this happen in my office? What was the killer after? You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well. Does that mean that we can actually make incorrect connections? Oh, or because our little bar is flashing up there in the top left, does it mean if we attempt to make incorrect connections we get penalized? Okay, but if we think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. Okay, so yeah, so I think that's what it is. I think that if we try to make incorrect connections, we'll be penalized. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir. Begin investigation. High Prosecutor's Offices, room 1202. The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir. I know that, and when I want to examine something, I simply use A when I'm next to it. Oh, if you ever feel lost and want to talk, just use X, okay? I'll give you great, precise advice as an ace investigator, sir. You are, Gumshoe. Something to try later if I have free time, I suppose. Still kind of arrogant. Whoa, we move really fast. Wow. We can do we can just get some exercise around our office. Cool, okay, well, let's get started. This seems the natural place. Do I have to wait for this? They finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Gosh, there's a lot of them already. Someone looks like they've written Gumshoe down there. I won't rest until I've inspected every... Well, let's look at this first of all. I don't believe it! I packed those files on those shelves so tight that not even an earthquake could make them fall off, but just look at them. At this rate, the rest of the files won't be able to withstand an earthquake at all. A problem, to be sure. Well, once the investigation is over, we'll put them back up on the shelf. Oh, so is that just giving me this? Like, I'm trying to click... Can't we look at the... Can't we look at the very obvious name written in blood that is definitely Gumshoe? And of course, because that looks like an S, it's been written after a book has already been removed. Oh. He's been shot rather low in the gut area. Let's see here. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area. That's what I was saying. It looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir. In other words, he was shot. Yep. And until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll know much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Bullet went clean through the victim's abdomen. The body was found at around 2:05 a.m. Are you going to be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course. This is the safest way I know to keep track of it all. Alright, if you say so. You mean remembering it? I don't know if that's good practice, but... I keep all the evidence I find either in or with my organizer. Oh, yes, your organizer. That's a much better idea. When I want to re-examine a piece, I have but to press R to open my organizer. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on hand in it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often. Alright, these are done. We can't... Oh, there's nothing. Okay, so if it's blue, there's nothing. Even though there's obviously a very... That's... Okay, so we can't check that specifically. What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, detective. Oh, hey! I have the exact same thing, actually. What a coinkydink! Let's take a look inside. Buddy Faith. So one of the other really enjoyable things about this game, of course, is all of as even when it's very silly, like the care that goes into all of the pun names, and they're, I can't fully speak to how well it's always done in English. I think sometimes very well and sometimes a little bit less well from things that I've heard about some of the earlier games. But either way, there's lots of fun in the names as well. So Detective Buddy Faith got his number there. I am imagining that number might become important at some point. I'm just going to take a rough little 1193964, okay? In case we see it somewhere. Mr. Buddy Faith, it would appear that our victim was a detective, just like you. According to his badge and ID, Buddy Faith was a precinct detective. Your files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. My files are a mess, pointing to a struggle between the victim and the killer. Aw, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life? I mean, that's very nice of you, Gumshoe, thank you. It doesn't appear there's anything specific that we can look at, even though I want to check out this and this writing in blood in specifically. Maybe that's all we've got. Cool. I don't think we have any specific, like any obvious connections at the moment. And yeah, okay. So we've got just one addition to the evidence. All right. Can we... Ouch, they even knocked over your chess set. I had it all set up ready for when you got back. I figured we could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess. I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. In that case, I suppose I can set some time aside after we solve this case. Though I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much. Such a snob. In the most lovable way. What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. I think I've seen one of these before. Care to enlighten me as to where? Oh, I know. I was issued the exact same model, I think. Detective, I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it. So it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by this precinct's detective. I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to calmly use some logic and figure out if any of these are connected to each other. Okay, I guess it's telling me that they are. Cha-ching! Let's use some logic. Victim was a detective. Well, I guess these are the obvious ones, right? And connect. Cha-ching! The revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What do we got here? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. This guy's wearing a gun holster. So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him. Victim's revolver data jotted down in my organizer. Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver. Yes, this is what I was looking forward to. I love when you're able to thoroughly inspect the evidence and the items that we pick up. So fun. As I always say, you've got to look really carefully at each piece of evidence. You can use R to rotate an object. There's no such thing as a bad angle. Use L and R to zoom in to get at in and out to get at the nitty gritty. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Whee, let's swing the gun around. Whoa, it jumped. All right, so let's just start here. It looks like only one round was fired from this. Wow, so the killer killed the Vic with just one shot after wrestling the gun from him? Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. I guess this is about all we're going to find out. We should send the body to all... Jim! Well, this is at least the guy that we saw in the first scene. You know, again, probably the killer, but maybe sometimes this game throws some unexpected turns at you. So let's say probably the killer. Why, oh why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Are you all right? Don't touch me. Leave me alone. Just let me be. Look, I'm gonna say, I'm 100% sure that this guy's the killer because he's putting on a ridiculous performance, and obviously he was here before. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be one of those out of left field type things. I think this is just kind of classic. Let's find, it's the classic Columbo thing. It's the classic kind of Gyakuten Saiban Ace Attorney thing. We know who the killer is from the start. Don't touch me. Leave me alone. Just let me be. Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body? The body? Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh. Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Sure. Just in a blood-stained suit, pal. Jeez, Gumshoe. Protocol. Like, even if you do suspect this guy, is suspicious or the killer, like, come on. Be a little bit careful about how you speak to people in sensitive situations. Yeah, I don't blame you. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Why, yes, I am. I'm Jacques Portsman, prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and I like you. I am also a prosecutor, and I like you. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office. Oh, dude, why are you here? What are you doing? My first guess is that what he's done is run in to actually grab something off of the body that he realized he might have forgotten or might be evidence against him, because he ran straight over to them. So, yeah, I'm assuming that that's probably happened. Yes, that is correct. Then it was you. You're the one who killed Jim. Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not. I know how things work around here. High prosecutors' office doors all have locks built into them, and only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal, and the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. Ho, 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 ho. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then. You're Jim's killer. No way, pal. You've got it all wrong. Everyone calm down. Mr. Portsman, correct? If you are a real prosecutor, you should know to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? Alright, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumours about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know. Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? He suddenly seems much less traumatised about the death of his friend. Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal? This is so weird. Why? Don't do it. Don't do it, Edgeworth. Come on, this gotta be Prosecutor 101. This is so sus. A pleasure to work with you. You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Yeah, that was really weird of me. Carry on then. It's your room after all. I'm much less upset now, thanks. This 2-minute talk has really calmed me down about the death of my friend and partner, so I'll be off now. Doo-doo-doo. Thank you, I intend to. I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there, sir. I want you to capture this scene on film for me. Wow, he's setting up a lot for himself. My final farewell to my partner, Jim. This is so weird, everybody. Is this not so super weird to you? I should probably give them some space. No, you should watch him like a hawk, Edgeworth. Mr. Portsman, a word if I may. Jim, I swear I'll find your killer and bring them to justice. You wait and see. It'll be for both of us. It'll be for the both of us. Now then, you wanted to talk to me about something. No, that's alright. I feel like I'm interrupting their conversation. Okay, let's look elsewhere. Chair. I hope we can solve this case quickly. I'd like to return to relaxing on this sofa. That thing looks a billion times softer than my mattress at home. Can I sit on it too? Just for a little while, sir? Haven't you been in this office for quite a while now, Gumshoe? Surely you've sat on this... You've probably slept here. Detective Gumshoe, you know I can't allow that. You can't allow... Well, I guess. Alright, fair enough. Right now, sure. Until this case is solved, neither of us has time to spare, let alone rest. Oh, that's not the argument that I was thinking. I was like, the forensics are happening right now. Like, you can't touch anything. You're right, sir. I'm going to work hard and be a real trooper to the end. Even once this case is over, I don't think he can afford to take any time off. Jeez. Ah, your jacket, sir. What's it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round. So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra special jacket that you made your prosecutorial debut in? What if they had shot through it? It would have been a disaster. It's not worth getting worked up over, detective. Not when there's something more here. Like what? I take it you haven't noticed it yet, detective. There is a giant contradiction right here in front of us. His face. Really? I'm glad that we're using contradictions as well. Did I say contradiction? He must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. ... Ooh, it makes my heart happy that we're already referencing Phoenix. But I have my own methods, and I will conduct this investigation my way. Are we going to change the word? When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction. This jacket sure brings back memories. I remember you used to wear this around the time you became a certified prosecutor. It was a present from my mentor. Prosecutor Manfred von Karma, huh? Yes, I don't wear it anymore, yet I can't bring myself to throw it away. It must mean a lot to you, even with the little bittersweet memories it holds. But you know, I've got an old coat of mine hanging up in my room too, sir. Yesterday was laundry day, so it's just drying off, but you get the picture. Even little things like that could be important pieces of information to note. Oh, so okay, so it's not, I thought it was going to be that. Is it just, yeah, it's just where the bullet hole is, okay. This is it, this bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should point my cursor at it and press X with conviction. I am going to press it with such conviction. And when I have found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things. Oh, of course, the contradiction is that there are two... There are two bullet holes, one in the victim and one here. There we go. Eureka! This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir? It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim, and the second felled this frame. See, I've already made a critical mistake that you can playing this game. I was so excited about wanting to get to, you know, this is the number one thing I've wanted to look at since, you know, the gameplay began, which is what is behind this picture. So I was so excited about that I was not kind of playing the game, you know, that the game was asking me to play, which is actually to think about the contradiction of logic. So, a nice little reminder for me to not get ahead of myself. And the second felled this frame. Hey, that's right. However, this gun was only fired once. Hey, that's true too. Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. I mean, you know, probably the reason that the gun is there in the first place is it's a planned. You know, that just makes a lot of sense. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight? Other than the victim's gun that I found, could there be another gun in play here? By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes? What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Yes, thank you, Gumshoe. How many people? That guy was even dusting here. It's a secret safe. I guess it's not that guy's job maybe to do the detective's work. He's doing the forensic work. It's a secret safe. A secret safe? Oh, I smell money. I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. It's a picture of my boyfriend. Now if you could kindly move this frame out of the way. Roger that. Achoo, achoo, talk about dusty. I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while. I had no idea there was a safe here, or I'd have kept it clean for you, sir. So when did you put this thing in? It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. Oh, there you go. So it's common knowledge among prosecutors. Really? I had no idea. Well, only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. So what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, the interesting point about this is that the guy just shot at it and then left. So it feels like what they were doing was simply trying to call attention to it, to bring it into the investigation, or to call attention perhaps to perhaps evidence of who actually killed the victim. If this second person who came in here with a gun and shot at this this frame is not actually the killer, but somebody who's just trying to help the investigation along, maybe that's what was going on. So what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Right now, nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it? Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams. Secret safe data jotted down in my organizer. Each prosecutor has one in their office. Only they know of them. Trial evidence use. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Neither will I, Edgeworth. Now this is odd. You found something, sir. This keypad. Don't you find it to be a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, forensic scientist. Yes, sir. No, don't get that one. Get the other one. The one down below is not doing anything. Well, I guess he's securing the door. But, like, don't leave this suspicious character with the body. Like, don't give... Could you please dust this area for fingerprints? I'm afraid I can't, sir, because I can't leave this clearly suspicious character here unattended with the body. You got it, sir. Okay, I guess we will. I couldn't find, let alone lift, a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well. All of the fingerprints on this have been wiped clean off. Secret safe data updated. As I thought. It appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have. Okay. So what have we got? Another handgun. Wiped fingerprints. All the fingerprints on this have been wiped clean off. Why did this happen in my office? What was the killer's? I mean, it could be this. I don't think it's a very... It's a possible connection. But, you know, we haven't looked at everything else in the room yet, so I don't know, maybe it's a bit premature, but that might be what they're after. Struggle. We're not really doing anything with that yet. Could there be another gun in play here? I don't know, like these also seem like an obvious connection to me as well, but this has come up just after wiped fingerprints, so... But then again, wiped fingerprints, you know, could also have a connection with, you know, fingerprints found on the handgun, but it doesn't feel like we're being pointed in that direction. So let's give this a try. Why not? Connect! I'm pressing X with conviction. I believe I have figured out what the murderer was after. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe. Making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was theft changes what the other pieces of information can tell me about this crime. Oh, now we have a question mark. Motive theft? The culprit tried to open my safe. Was the killer's motive theft? Well, then I suppose we can connect it to signs of a struggle. But I mean, again, I would say we should be looking at the files first, right? There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, we saw that. We saw that they were. Yes, sir. I'm going to show files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure. Let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. Geez, like, do you guys get any training in how to speak to grieving people? All we can do is search for the truth. And? So what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? Well, you're not involved. You're not involved, Portsman. First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it. Here, let me help. No, get this man out of here. So this file goes here and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal, okay? Done. Ooh, dun dun dun. So there's another bullet hole. Oh, that's probably where, you know, it went through the victim's body into there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that would make sense with where the blood is there. But then that's a really odd, like the hands at the bottom, I'm just thinking ahead, like if the victim was kind of shot in the lower abdomen there, it would imply that he was sitting. And in that case, his hands on the ground there would make sense, particularly as he, might have sort of sat there, slumped over, sort of dying. But then what is going on with the hands higher up? Like, unless he sort of reached back to try and lift himself up? The bloodstains in the bookshelf are still fresh. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell onto the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kind of grossing me out. Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. But I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. Dun dun dun. It's this. So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spine indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. The files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. Then I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. Am I deducing from this? Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Well, I wanted to point out the thing about the fingerprints, so hang on, maybe I've got to look at these first. The victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands here after being shot. There are prints on the floor too. Those must have been made when, unable to stay standing, he dropped to the floor. No, it was the other way around, but let's collect all of these first. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. Oh, so that's why the seat of the victim's pants has blood on it. That would be the logical conclusion. I put them all back, just as they should be, sir. Hang on, I actually haven't looked at these. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A, B, C, D, E. Okay. And then up the top, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Alright. Can't fault him there. Although it does look like the killers moved the body to flip through my shelves. I wonder if they found what they were looking for. Is there anything else that we're collecting? The body? The killer moved the body because it was leaning against the bookshelf. The blood on this guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See? I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edgeworth. Gumshoe, don't be so hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Okay, I think that's probably it. So, can I now connect to this? Oh. No. I was hoping that I would have the handprints, like the bloody handprints here. Okay, in that case, let me think again. I don't know that makes sense. Only one shot fired. We kind of haven't we already established that there are, there's clearly like another weapon at play. Maybe we have to connect it to this. Maybe this is the logic that we use to make that connection. Let's try this. Eureka! There is clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against this shelf here after being shot. which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. Then that means... Wait, what does that mean? So the files have been moved. I'm just looking at the blood on those bottom white files there. And I guess the only thing that sort of makes sense to me is if those white files were actually up where the higher bloody handprints were, but also if they were all the way to the left, so that blood spatter on the bottom of OA and OB connects with, the leftmost handprint. Then that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective. Edgeworth, be nice. Look at his face. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. I think I just repeated myself because I had to pause for a sec. And it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole's position? Well, I guess ultimately we're talking about the order of the files. I believe the order of the files is a bit off. You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir. Oh? Yeah. You see here how the files that were shot begin with the number O? What are those doing all the way down here after 1, 2, 3? That's really weird. You know what? I didn't question that because I don't know where these, what these numbers and these letters connect to. I mean, it sounds obvious now, but it could have been a very specific filing system that related to, there's, O might have signified some, I don't know. Actually, but I guess it just means, do they mean the number O, not the letter O? So this actually should come before 1? Is that? Actually, the way they organize now is the correct order. They are exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out of order. Those white binders are special, so they are arranged... This is what I was thinking. Yeah. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha, so that's it. So it's Gumshoe's mistake when he was cleaning things. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out. That's interesting because I wouldn't have made that assumption that the killer also made the same mistake. I didn't think that necessarily the killer had to have put the files back on the shelf in a different order, if you get me. No, of course he did, because they've been moved. Yeah, of course he did. No, alright, that's necessary then. Yep, of course, because the bullet hole in the blood has been moved. How did he make a mistake? Given those things, how did the killer make this mistake? Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved? They've finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith. And then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. It's funny that they, I don't know, that they pulled everything. I guess they're in a panicked rush and they just pulled everything off. But then they were in such, if they were in a panicked rush and then they took the time to put everything back up is kind of funny. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime. But why? Well, I guess this is in line with my theory that we've had two different people in this crime scene doing things here. One the actual murderer, who probably went through these files, and then someone has come in here after the murderer. And possibly done the same thing. And possibly is the same person who Edgeworth encountered. That's kind of my current thinking. Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look. Finally, can we look at this? This is very conspicuous. This is the most conspicuous thing in the room. This... What is this? What is that? Why does it say gumshoe on there in blood? So F, G, H. H is missing. But H, unless there's a character called Gummy Shoe or something like that. Oh no, that's part of the H. Oh, silly me. Oh. All right, before when this was sort of hidden, like I'd made an assumption that was the S, but now that I can see the O and the E, obviously that's actually part of the H. So indeed, the S, the middle one, OH, that must have the S written on it, is missing. So they have taken one. Why does it say gumshoe on there in blood? Well, it says gum-ho. I'd say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes, indicative of criminal activity indeed. No, wait, there's got to be some mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, say something, sir. It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? One of the files that were written upon in blood was stolen by the culprit. I'm glad that we've actually really quickly made that leap of logic. You know, it's hard to tell in this game, are they going to make a leap like that instantly, or are we going to spend 5 minutes making that leap of logic? I don't mind either. That's the fun of the game. But yeah, again, you never know what you're going to get. Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Yeah? Yeah? You like my logic? Yeah? You happy with that? This has all gone according to plan, he's thinking. I'm telling you it wasn't me. You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Bam! Is that our first point? Jim's words. They're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it. Oh, okay, so we get other people to lay out their logic and we poke holes in it. I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. Yes, Edgeworth, yes. Use your intuition. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you going to do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Yes. Ooh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir? Gumshoe, you've been in the other games. You've seen it. But it's okay. We've got to do the explanation. You know, look, I'm here to play the game as is, so let's say might as well. All right. First, I listen to the witness's testimony. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open my organizer with R and present the piece of contradictory evidence. To present something, I simply use X, but that's old news. But it's not like there's going to be a flaw in their testimony every time, right? Correct. And at those times, I need to press the witness with L. Sometimes by pressing, I can draw out new information and new or modified testimony. I'm really pleased that we have these kinds of scenes, that we effectively have the courtroom gameplay dynamic, but just in an outside of court form, I suppose. I don't know if we're going to get courtroom gameplay as well. I hope so, but yeah, I know it's not the full focus of the game in this time, but then again, it wasn't in the previous Ace Attorney games either. Like, it was always that investigations took, you know, like we're I don't know, like let's say, you know, there were about half of the game, and then about half of the game was courtroom stuff, give or take, depending on the story. But yeah, so I mean, I could imagine the same thing being part of this as well. I mean, I can't imagine that they would avoid courtroom prosecution. I'm just so interested, like, you know, assuming that that's what's going to happen. I'm so interested about how it's going to work being a prosecutor in a courtroom scene. And indeed, yeah, all of this. I think I get it, sir. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations too. Very well. I'll even show you how it's done. Now watch carefully. Mr. Portsman's logic. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. Oh, it sounds like he's rhyming. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice. The thumbs up is hilarious. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? There is no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. Thank you, Edgeworth. Thank you. I will find the flaw in this man's logic. Oh, I like the, we're getting that more detail in the background objects now. The very nostalgic background objects. And expose it with credible evidence. Dun dun dun. Rebuttal. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you'd committed theft instead. I love that to what have we got? I'm just going to take a look. Can we present anything right now? I would, in general, like to make sure I'm pressing, because then you just get more game out of it. You get more character interaction. It's more interesting. But one of the files that were written upon in blood was stolen. I don't think that that's enough on its own. So that's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. So we don't have like a coroner's report that would, for example, say, he died immediately. All right, let's do some pressing. Let's start here. Hold it. Great. There's something I've been meaning to ask. What is it? Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name is Buddy Faith? Isn't it obvious? Jim is the perfect name for my companion. Jacques and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly? But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jacques and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys I decided to nickname Jim. Hilarious. So he just needs to have a Jim. He talks about the victim like he was his pet. Yeah, he does. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. Press. Do you really think it was necessary to dishevel my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay, then maybe his real intent was theft. Hey, are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much that life is getting a little too rough to handle. I'll have you know that I eat 3 square meals every day, pal. Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be instant noodles, but... Poor thing. What an evil prosecutor you were paired up with. And what a motive, no? That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. Press. And why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing? Because the body was getting in his way. He had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. Hold it! Why do you think that the killer didn't notice the bloody letters? Well, to be honest, it did take us ages to notice the bloody letters. The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how he missed it. But judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take much for your detective to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal. There's a lot a person can understand about another from first impressions alone. I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could have overlooked the bloody letters, and I can prove it with evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup. For the game finishing spike. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice. Well, let's do a complete press. Are you saying that those letters were intended for you? Yep, Jim was an outstanding detective. I would expect no less from my former partner. It looks like Mr. Portsman still doesn't understand. He has yet to figure out the true meaning behind the bloody letters. What are you sputtering over there? Can't you just admit my logic is perfectly sound? Actually, there's a gigantic flaw in his logic. A gap so wide that even the good detective can spot it. Now, to clue Mr. Portsman in by presenting him with some evidence. Okay, so... I think this is the one. Let me just do a little... I mean, at the moment, I think it's that the file was stolen. Let's just give it a go.
Objection!
Ooh, I did an objection. I got an award. Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic. Heh, bringing a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me. Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking, I get it. Ha ha ha. Oh, hello, it's my little fluffy kitty pixel in the background doing a big meow. He was meowing. Objection! If you have time to laugh, then you have time to take another closer look at this. Ah, oh, this is great music. It's like, the music is like, you're doing it. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible. Is it that they're upside down? What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing. The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I was originally thinking, but it's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah, I mean the S is gone and there's only half an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Which means, what exactly? What does that make, this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low. I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. Is it lower than murdering another human being? It is low. It is low. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsman? Brilliant. Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold. Oh, finally, we're starting to get some of his kind of character persona coming out. And on this note, I'm going to have to leave this first episode here, because this is a good enough little point. But I cannot wait for you to follow along with me on the rest of this journey. I'm so so happy and excited to be playing Ace Attorney again, and really, really excited to see how the rest of this totally new style of game will unfold. I mean, at the moment, it's not that different, so I'm sure that there are some other, some other sort of new gameplay kind of points that we're going to get, and I'm really excited to see them. But at the moment, this has got all of the classic things that I love about Ace Attorney. So I'm really having fun with this. I'm really enjoying. So I really hope that you'll join me on the rest of this blind playthrough, and as always, if you'd like to give the video a like or give the channel a subscribe, if you're interested in following along, that would be great and really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. See you then.